Hola, it's me again. It's me again. The downside of hold
Hey,
on.
Dad. What?
This may be a very bad thing. Like this may not be like a good thing, should I say, to do. Um, but one of the downsides of working from home and not having a place to go to where you can talk to folk about stuff. Like when I was like working a regular job, our coworkers, stuff would come up in the media, something we heard. Like it gave you people to kind of like talk to. Most times I'm home by myself. I've expressed that before, like to people tell me I go live too much. And I'm like, this is how I communicate with adults. Because I am like I work from home by myself. So being inside these walls by myself, I have things that kind of come to mind. And then you don't really have folks to kind of discuss it with because a lot of my people, like my friends and stuff like that, like they're at work. I even tried to call my mama. She was at work. I couldn't talk to her or whatever. Um, like I can't all the time. Like sometimes my mom will shoot the breeze, but like not all the time. So I use my platform. When I have these thoughts and I can't get them out of my head, I can't work until I like get them out. Like they have to be expressed in some way, shape, or form. That is, I guess some people call it a character flaw. I don't know. I'm not gonna call it a flaw, but that's just something about me, like where I really want to like get these things like off of my brain. So it's not off of my chest. I think off your chest is kind of it comes off of like something negative. I just have to get it out of my brain, like the thoughts, like my thought process of whatever I read or whatever, I have to get out of my head. So I'm in a group, and I'm hoping that the person whose group this was in does not like. I really, really hope that they don't take offense or feel like it's just I want to kind of talk about. I wanted to put certain things in the post, but then I kind of like I said earlier, you go and you start talking about stuff in like somebody's group, it can come off a certain type of way. Some people may say, okay, it's okay to talk about it, but could you wait a few days, like not on the day that it happened? But then I don't want to dwell on it a few days. Like I'm thinking about it now, so I want to talk about it now. So um no, not a group that it's not, I promise you, it's not a problem with the group or anything like that. Like it's just like it was a topic that came up. I kind of somewhat talked about it. I want to talk about it before, but I haven't, like, because it came up and now like this conversation is like in my head right now. I want to kind of just go ahead and discuss it. And it is about, because I've seen this come up so many times in the craft industry, um, about legalizing this. Like that topic has come up so many times, and ever since like especially since the pandemic, when if you had a structured business, you were able to um uh, hold on. um okay, so anywho, like I said, no problem, I promise, no problem. It's just that um excuse me, oh my god, I wanted to kind of talk about this. And I was saying, during the pandemic, this kind of came up because people were wanting to get like aid, and of course, the PPP loans and all the other things, and you had to have an established business. So they understood it was for a business, because if you don't know, business is what runs and pushes this country. Being a consumer does not They want, you want people to have like a business. Like that's really what feeds the economy more so than anything. So it was this whole thing of instructors and people telling people to get an LLC. Now, I am not going to say that there is anything wrong with having an LLC. You want to structure this. There are benefits, there are perks, there are reasons there are reasons why you should structure it once you when you want those benefits, right? So it's not a certain dollar amount when you want those benefits and depending on what your business is. But a lot of times I feel like in the craft community, because we have a low liability, like it's a low liability industry or business, like for the most part, when that term legalize your business comes up, people are more so referring to an LLC and setting that up. But that doesn't make you a legal business, or like an LLC has nothing to do with like legalities and things of that nature. It doesn't protect like your business name. You can create a business, create this name, but you still have to trademark it. Like it's things like that. And even trademarking is not necessarily to make your business legal. It's for protection. An LLC can give you some sort of protection. There are benefits to it because there are some entities that won't conduct business with you on behalf of like saying, hey, I want to get this funding. I want to be able to utilize this space for a business. Well, how do we know that you are a business? If you don't have it set up, a lot of companies will assume, well, hey, if you went through the process of setting up an LLC, then you must have business insurance. You must have the proper licenses if you went through all this to put Uncle Sam in your business. All creating an LLC does is put the government on notice that there is another business that has formulated, and hey, we're going to get some money for taxes. Like that's all an LLC is, or a corporation. Like that's all that is. So I want to just kind of talk a little bit about that part of it, because there might be some creators or crafters who are thinking about, I guess you would say, taking their business to the next level. And what does that, like, what would be the benefit to you for having an LLC? Does that legalize your business? Not really. So before I get into this, I'm going to go ahead and just introduce myself. My name is Shakia Lavelle. I'm also known as Shakia the Professor. Our company is HS Ink 365. We sell sublimation paper, ink. We also have classes on a wide variety of topics. We also have what's called the Creative Lounge, where we meet weekly, Monday at 6:30 p.m. to discuss topics like this, pro calls where you can get help and things of that nature, okay? So a legal structure, like someone can be a sole proprietor. Like that is an actual status. That is not I'm piecemeal. Like that is an actual status where you can be a sole proprietor. A lot of low risk businesses will choose to do that, right? So just be a sole proprietor. You can pay taxes under sole proprietorship, because once you go and the money that you're now, unless it was like back in the day where you're kind of sort of hiding money because you're getting paid everything in cash, it makes it a little harder now to basically hide that, because there's a digital trail. So if there is this digital trail of you getting all of this money in that company or the processor that money is processed through, they're going to report you and your account and your name to the IRS, because they don't want to pay the taxes on your revenue, your income. So they are going to report you to Uncle Sam and say, like, for all their, like, in all their paperwork, hey, so this 100,000 from the $1 billion that we made, this ain't none of ours. Don't tax us 20% on this 100,000, because that's not our debt to bear. Okay, this belongs to X, Y, and Z. Don't put that on me. Okay, so when you go the digital route, you kind of have to claim it on your taxes, because somebody has already submitted, I gave them food some money. Okay, so that's where, you know, having those things up. But even as a sole proprietor, you can still file your taxes. You don't really need, like, you're a sole proprietor, so you don't need an EIN. necessarily. Like some people, like it's an employer identification number. If you are a sole proprietor, you're not employing anyone, so you don't need that. Now, over the years, it's a lot of companies where they will now ask for that, but that means that they're trying to do business with people that are businesses and not sole proprietors, because sole proprietors don't need an EIN. In their mind, if you have started a business, at some point you're going to have some employees, and it's not going to be just you. Like that's an indicator for a lot of like investors and things like that. Like you got some employees, because, and then if you're going to go the route of setting up an LLC, especially if you have children, you should have some employees. Your children should be employees for your business. There are tax benefits to putting your kids on payroll. I don't care if it's just $20 a week, $50 a week, or whatever that you're giving them. And here they got to give it right back to you. It don't even matter. They had a bank account. It goes there. It's tax benefits to it. So technically, you should have some employees. You can make yourself an employee if you do the right tax classification. Like if you choose to be taxed as an S Corp, but as an LLC, even as an S Corp, it still goes through your personal taxes. The only thing that an LLC really does is it can protect your personal assets if it's like clear that you are not commingling them, right? And that there is a true separation of them, of the two, to where if you get sued, you can lose your whole business. So some people think having an LLC means that you're going to be fully protected. It doesn't protect you against lawsuits. If you have a judgment against you and, have a judgment against you, you will lose your entire business. If you don't have other things like set up, you will lose that business. It just means that they cannot include the value of your house, your cars. If you got a boat, a summer home, or whatever, they cannot include that in like your ability to be able to pay. They can't seize that. They can't force you to sell that in order to pay this judgment back, because that judgment would be against the business and not you per se, right? That is one of the first, that's the main protection, is separating your business from your personal. But you can, like I said, you can use the business if you then don't have insurances. You got to have liability insurance, and that doesn't protect your property. That's just in case you are sued. And so that you don't lose everything, you need to have that protection. Having an LLC provides benefits like lenders trusting you more, that if you at least took this step, you've identified to your state, the government, that you are wanting to run a business and that you're not wanting this money to just go fund your personal life. Like, okay, you have a business plan, you have an actual business that you are going to, you're going to conduct. I'm going to see a return on my investment. You're not just going to spend this money and it's like, I just gave you money. It makes it more favorable when you're going to go look for, or you're going to seek out financial investments, financial investments and help and resources, loans and things of that nature. Your having an LLC can make it to where, for some industries, for some, you do still have to go through your state tax office to get your resale certificate. And that will allow you to go, like if you are a boutique owner, there are certain districts and certain companies to be able to get close to resale. If you don't have a specific resale certificate, because there's different classes of it, or different classifications of it. If you don't have a certain one, then you can't go into these districts and stuff like that. So it's like exclusivity. When it comes to getting equipment and supplies and blanks and things like that in bulk, you have to have an established business and, your resale certificate, not even established business. You just have to have your resale certificate. My very first resale certificate I had and did not have an LLC. I was able to get an EIN and I did not have an LLC. I had sole proprietorship. I had an EIN. I had a resale certificate for my first before I understood all of this. So having an LLC doesn't mean like that's how you get those. Now, most times when you're getting that, they'll tell you make sure you're taking care of all these as well. But sole proprietor is a business structure that is recognized, and if needed, you can go get an EIN, you can go get a resale certificate, right? So that's an LLC has nothing to do with any of those. If you have established it, it just kind of makes people kind of trust you more. It's more of a vanity thing to where people will kind of trust you more. And it's just you're established, right? So they feel like you're not just doing this for personal gain, like you actually have a business. So that is really the extent of an LLC. Because you don't have to have an LLC to file self-employment. There's a lot of hairdressers and things like people do hair on the side, especially if they have children but no other real income, so they can get their earned income credit. They're going to go and say, hey, I have a business. Tax professionals has been doing that for forever. Those women women, men, or whatever that don't really have a job, yeah, you're like, man, how in the heck they getting back 10 bands? Because somebody went and said, no, you have a business. You spent money on marketing and branding and supplies and this. And so that qualifies them to now get those credits for their children. Because if you don't have any income, there are child credits, there are child tax credits. But if you don't have income to report to the government so that you can you can't ever just go on there and say, hey, I was raising kids or whatever. Let me run me my 3K, run me my 5, whatever the heck the number is. You can't go and just say, run me that money without having taxes that you are going to file. Well, if you ain't worked nowhere in Dade, Broward, Monroe County, how my grandmother used to say, this is where tax professionals will make it up to where somebody had a business. You didn't have to have an LLC for that because you're just self-employed. There are a couple of things that will make your business not legal. Not paying your taxes, number one. If you have a business that requires a specific type of licensing or certificate, I mean, if you're going around and you're trying to be a doctor, you're trying to do veneers, you're trying to do butt injections, and you're trying to practice medicine, like you're trying to be a dentist and you're doing all this stuff and you ain't got no license, that is not operating legally. Technically for hairdressers and you're supposed to have certain licenses to be able to do those things. Masseuse, even technically as a mechanic, there are certain certificates and things, but there is nothing that says like, hey, you went to school. Like there's like a trade, it's like a certificate you can get for other people to trust that, okay, you know what you're going to be doing with this, but somebody can go and work on a car and they're not technically breaking any laws unless your area that you live in says you cannot be fixing on cars in this without a business. Then like based off of whatever the rules are, if you are now breaking those rules, now your business is not operating legally. But there are certain industries where you have to have certain licenses. If you're in food service, whether you have to have the full managerial food safe or you can just have the food handler's license, you have to have those things. If you don't have them and you're conducting business within the food sector, you are now conducting business illegally. Those are things that are factors to running a legal business. But having marketing and branding, setting prices, LLC has nothing to do with running a legal business. Okay. Do you need an EIN to get a reseller? No, those are two different entities. Your EIN comes from the federal government. Your reseller certificate comes from the state. They don't care. You can go and you're going to skip one. They're going to give you that reseller certificate. So no, you do not have to have one in order to get the other. Two separate entities, federal and state. I have an LLC. I carry commercial insurance for my business. A lot of people don't. So you can use your Social Security to file your business. You have no choice. If you are not a corporation is the only entity where it is truly separate. And you will completely file for your corporation. And then, of course, you will have like your personal tax. That's the only one that's separate. An LLC is on the state level. It was a way for someone to go and establish a business without being a corporation. Then once you go to the federal side, there is no LLC. Your taxes, like your tax side is going to be either sole proprietor, like if you have an LLC, you have someone on, you're automatically like considered a partnership. You can have an S corp election, which will allow you to technically like file your tax and get better tax breaks, which I'm actually going to break this down next month in the Creative Lounge. And I also have this amazing guide and stuff that's coming out. But you can have certain tax breaks when it comes to self-employment tax, but that money is still filtered through your personal income tax. All right. You're like that business is a disregarded entity. So no matter what, if you have an LLC, and then when you, as far as like your federal taxes, if it's just a single member LLC, you're still a sole proprietor in the eyes of the government, like the federal government. If you have this business and like, let's say you're married, it's more than one person on it, then it's a partnership. It's you still file all of your business stuff on your personal taxes. You are not doing anything where it is a separate like tax. It's just a Schedule C on your personal taxes. If you have an S corp, yes, you do like your filing and break everything up so that it identifies what you did in business, right? What all was business expenses from this money. And then whatever the profits are, you then have to file those profits under your personal federal income tax return. There's just a difference in how much that is taxed. And so you're going to get tax savings on that. So that's if you choose to, like, you have to elect to be taxed as an S corp. And then a corporation, there's a lot more to it. LLC allows you to be a little bit more lenient. You don't have to have bylaws. You don't have to have a board. You don't have to, there's a lot of different things that you have to have in place. You have to have meetings and that you're recording minutes for. You have to submit the recordings for those meetings to the government. You don't have to do that with an LLC. It allows you to do this without so many requirements. S corp allows you to have a little bit more tax savings. A C corp it's completely separated. And a C corp, if you have a business that's an actual corporation, a C corp, they can co-sign on a loan because it is considered to be like another person. That's the thing where in this industry, most people don't understand like the true inner workings of running business and what that means. Okay. But I saw that and I'm like, I don't really want to type it out. I'm hoping that I'll send this to her and hopefully she'll allow me to like share it because I think people just don't know. I'm not trying to be like rude or mean in it. It's just we kind of say things. And for people that don't know, they see this especially from somebody like they know they trust, they're in their groups and they think like they have to rush out and get this LLC and that's what's going to make them legal. That makes you open to more, not say more risk, but like now Uncle Sam is on your behind. Then you have to really think about like when you're doing certain things, like how do I make sure that it's separate? And there's going to be no question that this is a separate entity and they can't come from my home. They can't come from my car. They can't come from whatever assets I have. They can't come and try and take my kids' college fund, things of that nature. But LLCs it's not having an LLC is not about anything being legal. The other part of it is as long as your business isn't doing anything illegal, like that's where is it a legal business? Are you selling some stuff you shouldn't be doing? Are you selling counterfeit items? Technically, we want to be truthful about it. Someone that sells drugs, like they can go and all the stuff that they have to buy, like, they'll maybe can form it in a way to where all the little bags and stuff, those stuff that they buy, they can receive some tax credits on it, but most of their stuff is cash transactions. So no one knows about like how much money they really have, But that is the art of business. Like dope boys are conducting business. They are running a business. Some of them can conduct business better than major corporations and how they move and doing this, doing that. Like they're way better than any corporation, but they don't have any legal protections. They can't really file taxes on it. They can't get, government contracts and school contracts and things of that nature. Now, if that is something that you want, where you want to have contracts with schools and governments or with other companies, they now require, like they may require you to show that you have an officially structured business with an agreement with your state. They may want to see that in order to even consider you for it. So you have some people and it's like they'll go now, oh yeah, I'm the best caterer, or I'm the this, that, and the third, and you're trying to get into a school and you feel like, oh, it's just because of who I am. It's the color of my skin, is this, is that. No, baby, you don't have the right documentation. You don't have the right insurance. Like you have to have, for some places, it's like $500,000. Others, you have to have $1 million in liability protection as well as workers' comp. What if somebody gets hurt when you're going to do certain things? Understanding about protections for yourself. If it's just you, or let's say you have employees, you're an event planner, you have people coming in and helping you do X, Y, and Z. Well, you're not going to ever get the opportunity to do a event for a large corporation or like this really big setup, because what if you're setting up all these installation and one of the people that's with you, they slip and fall and they get hurt? Who's going to cover their medical bills? So a company doesn't want to take the chance and, okay, well, yeah, they slip and fell here, but they did that while they were doing work for you. They're not going to go and sue us. They're not going to go and sue that hotel or whatever it is. That's on you. You need to have workers' compensation insurance for your employees. Like you're the one that's supposed to take care of that. So there's things where, like now, if you're doing it and like you have employees, you're not paying them. So that can be something where it's illegal, where you're not paying them according to like minimum wage laws, like laws that have been set. As long as you're not breaking the laws that are in place, you're not doing anything illegal, you can run a legal business by yourself. You never have to have a structure set up. An LLC and a sole proprietor, when it comes to your taxes, one is not better than the other. It is the same tax deduction. Everything is the same. You're going to get the same percentage of, like, let's say you, like for business meals, it's 50%. If it's 25, a credit of 25% for charitable donations, whether you are a sole proprietor, an LLC, or have the S Corp classification, you are being taxed the same exact way. There is no difference between the two. Okay. So I just wanted to come on because I did see that. As I'm strolling through Facebook and stuff like that, I'm probably going to come on here a couple of times. Okay. Like I'm liking this, just being free. I'm just picking any and everything to kind of like talk about. Like, so yeah, I just want to come on and just kind of get you to at least start to think about that. Like I said, we will be talking about this in Creative Lounge next month, and just different structures and what you should consider, what's going to be best for your business. Do you need to have all of these things with where you're at? If you know that you're not really putting forth a lot of effort and you're doing this part-time, having an LLC isn't going to instantly make it better. It doesn't instantly make it where you qualify for funding. I don't care what anyone says. For PPP purposes, pandemic purposes, having that, yes, you are the first ones in line for that. But now that that's over with, there aren't a lot of things where simply having an LLC now opens up these like doors and things like that for you. So just wanted to share that with you guys. I know this is not the sexy content, but just wanted to share that with you guys. Hopefully it was helpful for you. Oh, I did good. I did under 30 minutes. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity. Be incredible. If you have additional questions, feel free to drop them. Like, I don't mind answering, like, as much as I can, answer them in the chat. But if you guys are, let's say, closed mouths don't get fed, if you don't speak up and ask the questions of, well, hey, what about this? What about that? Should I be doing this? You can ask in the chat. I'll do my best to answer as best I can, or just come and join us in the Creative Lounge and you can get this type of information knowledge every single week. Okay, y'all. Peace.